Call the meeting to order for the St. John Economic Development Commission, and we're rising for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we got a very special time tonight. We're giving out our first community Commitment to Community Award, I believe is what it's called, Beth, right? And we're honored to announce Welch's Stop and Shop, and we're glad to see the entire family is here. And on behalf of EDC and the town of St. John, we thank you for everything you've done. And Beth Hernandez, our town clerk, is going to make a presentation, and I'm going to turn that over to Beth right now.
Perfect, thank you.
We can do that.
Thank you, John. So I'll just provide a little bit of background for the board and Ed and family. So we decided to call this the Making a Difference Commitment to Community Award. And several months back, a resident kind of approached the town with an idea to honor residents, businesses, organizations, and the like who are making a difference in our community through their time, actions, and dedication, with an award of some sort. So we started kind of brainstorming with the project, and we decided that we'd go ahead and take it on. So in March, the public had their first opportunity to nominate a business, organization, or resident who they felt were deserving of this award. After working on the project, it became clear in my mind that this would be a perfect fit for the EDC, Economic Development Committee, due to its direct connection to local businesses and organizations. So I reached out to the board recently, and they welcomed the project with open arms. So starting in May, this particular board will take over the Making a Difference Commitment to Community Award. First, I just wish to thank you for taking it on. I think it's such a great way to honor those who give back to our community, and so I appreciate this board making it a part of your monthly routine. That's great. So for this month, we had 8 nominations and then a panel of 6 employees representing each department selected a recipient. So we had the police department, fire department, building and planning, parks, public works, and my office. So somebody, a representative from each department, took a look at all 8 nominations. And I'm proud to announce that this month's honoree is Welch's Stop and Shop, or Ed. So quoting from the nomination form, Welch's does so much for the community. They give back to first responders, veterans, they take care of the elderly. They are involved with behind-the-scenes improvements and have been a community fixture for nearly 70 years. So personally speaking, I couldn't think of a more deserving business for this award. I personally thank you, Ed. Anytime I've ever needed anything, you're always there. Hot dogs for Christmas in the park. Last minute when we planned the Christmas parade, you were right there. So, baseball, I saw you're bringing out the grills and everything for their opening day ceremony. You were a big part of the donating for the Veterans baseball game. And so anytime you need something, Stop and Shop's there. So if you'd like to come up and accept the award, maybe take a picture or two, that would be great.
You want to snap some pictures here, and
And
then we
then
can...
I just wrote like a little letter, if you want to keep
here?
that too.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So,
Sure. Right here in front. Hey, congratulations. And then your family. So, to show that plaque. Come on, Beth. Oh, sure. Come on.
I'm gonna put it on.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Get a couple more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You want to get with your whole family too? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be correct to do that. Yep. Get everybody up there. Come on, this is a big deal. When you got a business in town, the entire family is involved in it, so. Oh, what a great shot there. What a great shot.
Don't tell me, but I'm gonna do one too, just for, we'll put this. Okay, perfect. Awesome, thank you guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Great.
I'm sure everybody here is enjoyed your business.
You're not stuck here for a minute.
Yeah.
Dave told me I gotta get out of here right now. Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, we're very proud of you, thanks.
Great.
So, okay, what a great thing for EDC to do.
I agree. Yeah. That's great.
So, we have no minutes, they're deferred again. So, we're gonna go right into our facade and rebate program guidelines that I've given everybody a packet. We did have a brief discussion last month. There was no quorum here, so we cannot vote on any changes or any tweaks to this until we have a quorum, which we have tonight. So I believe we can review this again, go over it, make any additions or amendments to it, and then we can get it into a final draft. So if you got the first page there, and if you can put up with my reading of this, we'll kind of go through it line by line. And this facade rebate program is administered through the Economic Development Commission, with the project review and design being approved by EDC. Rebate funds are available for exterior improvements for building located within the U.S. Highway 41 Overlay District as identified in Section 24-341 on the St. John Municipal Code. Rebate amounts are awarded up to 100% of the approved amount listed on the facade rebate application. Rebate amounts may be determined by the Economic Development Commission based on, but not limited to, the merits of the project, availability of funds, the number of rebates requests under consideration. Now, we do have limited funding. We are hoping that future funding comes from some of our TIF projects that are in the town, but we have to retire some of those obligations first. So we're going to start out with a small amount for the first one once we get this all approved and voted on, and then we have to pass it along to the town council for approval, and then we'll put that into action. But that's kind of the premise of what we're going to do here. So the program guidelines. Building property owners and business owners may apply. Business owners must complete notarized limited power of attorneys as part of their facade rebate application in order to apply for funds. The project building must be located within the boundaries of U.S. Highway 41 Overlay District. Priority will be given to buildings which meet or exceed all of the St. John municipal codes, which are age of building, linear footage of a building, setbacks from US 41 or right-of-way line, square footage of a building. Now here we can add to that if anybody in the committee thinks we need to add to that. Eligible work includes repairs and improvements of masonry, wood, windows, doors, lighting. Routine maintenance, including repair, replacement of roofs, are not eligible. Engineering fees, architectural fees, recording fees, permit fees are not eligible. Painting requests will be considered on a case-by-case basis. Side and rear facades not facing public streets will only be considered if they are fully visible from public streets. The entire length of width and of the facade must be visible from a public right-of-way. Before submitting an application, applicants must meet with the town manager and a member of the EDC to review compliance with the St. John Municipal Codes and recommendation to building and renovations. Contractors hired to do the work must be registered within the town of St. John's prior to an application submission. The rebate is a reimbursable program. The applicants must pay for 100% of the project cost up front. The Economic Development Commission, EDC, will rebate 100% of the approved amount listed on the facade rebate application. Now there we will adjust that on a yearly basis as funds are available or not available, and we'll decide that as a group. After submission of proof of all this work has been completed and paid in full. Number 12, the approved project work must be started within 3 months of EDC approval. The projects must be completed within 6 months of EDC approval. Projects are eligible for a number, like 3 months extension written by request for the EDC Commission. If the project is not completed on time with a written request for an extension, facade rebate applications will be voided and rebate funds will be canceled. Number 13, each project will be submitted to a mid-project review by the town manager and a member of EDC in order to determine if work is being completed in accordance with the project scope. Facade rebate applicants must submit a mid-project report on work completed and a cost to date, work remaining, and estimates of cost remaining. Facade rebate recipients are required to maintain all approved work for a period of 3 years as outlined in the facade rebate agreement. Rebate recipients must comply with the code of 22-5-1.7-11 and a E-verified program for rebates over $1,000. Now, I'm going to stop it there, and then we'll come back to how to apply in consideration of that. That's 15 bullet points there that we have gone through, and we have done some tweaking the last time we were all together, and hopefully everybody has had their paperwork from before so they can look at, some of these tweaks that we may want to add or take away. So if you go down your list, if there's anything that we need to add or take away, one suggestion prior was to add a copy of the maps with the application of the corridor, the 41 overlay. I think that would be a good idea if that's agreeable to the board. I think that would be a consideration to add. So I don't know if we have to vote on that, but if we have a verbal on some of those documents, and then when we get a final approval, we can vote nay or nay on it, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think we need a vote unless it's already been approved.
Yep,
So we're still in the.
yep.
Discussion phase.
Yeah. Findings and,
Do we want to add monument signs to this list or in our packet? Because there's a lot of signage that could possibly be painted or updated. Or,
Yeah, we should at least consider that. It would have to be up to code.
right?
The work would have to be up to code, but that would be a good item to add. Or it could just be a considered item by the EDC
after a proposal, because I don't, so we have eligible work, but we don't have like a list of things besides the facade that is eligible. So maybe we should,
Should we put the ordinance in there, in the packet, if it is pertaining to the signs, so that the residents or the business owners,
yeah,
No,
we'll probably have to add to bullet point 4 to include signage.
okay?
Yeah, and I know that some of these signs are grandfathered in at a certain size.
That's correct.
And some of the newer signs are not grandfathered in, therefore they're subject to current codes, which means that they're only a certain height and a certain size and a certain this and a certain that.
So if
Yep.
they do decide to do work to a grandfathered sign, it actually will negate the grandfather
Say, yeah,
clause.
doesn't
so
that
they'd
knock
have
it
to
out then?
follow-
Yeah.
They'd have to follow current,
They'd have to take
Code
it down to the code
guidelines.
then, right? Yeah.
It could, yeah, that could be a sticky,
well, it also could give people an out to come up to code and
Correct.
to be more uniform throughout the town.
correct.
Well, I think that we should, put the requirements in the sign ordinance in this packet then too, so we should add that if everybody's agreeable to that. Mike, if you got, some things to add to that, please speak up too, because we look for guidance from the council members on some of these things too,
Well, I
so.
think your idea of, if you're gonna give money to update a sign, we would like to get it up to ordinance. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Good enough.
Are we sticking with the 100% right now too?
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of knows what the budget is for this committee, so
Okay.
we will have to determine, once it gets approved by the town council, and talk about what possible expenditures we'll have through the end of the year, and then we'll come up with a number on that, and then we can, I'm seeing this launched maybe late fall, by the time everything gets approved through town council and or available, and then we can, but this is all predicated on the dollars that are coming in there.
Correct.
so.
So we're not gonna use a table of percentages, we're just gonna go with a flat 100%, just to start out with.
I
But it's
just,
100% of approved,
Right.
so I mean, that may only be 50% of the total budget of the job that's the undertaking.
Right.
You don't know.
right. So is that language okay? Or should we change that language on that? I like the 100% of the approved amount.
Sure. Is that clear to the applicant that of a project that they're going to do, that it could be divided down they'd be cover 100% of percentage of that project? It's clear when the
Well,
applicant
it's
does.
a little ambiguous right now, as far as if I was a younger business owner thinking, oh, I can get all my money reimbursed for this, because it's all listed at 100%.
Right.
But as long as we specify an approved amount up to 100%.
Not to, well, yeah, not
So
to
will-
exceed goods really.
Will we, I know we may not have the dollar amounts now,
Yeah.
but I had a chance to watch last month's meeting on
good.
YouTube. Yeah. And I had heard Brian say $2,500.
Well, we had, this committee
to.
this committee has certain amount of funds that are available, but, at any point, if there's a greater need for something in the community, that's where it's gonna go. But,
Yeah, I get that. I'm wondering though, if we put in here, and maybe it's just, we need to wait and see what those dollars are, but for an applicant to know the range that they could
Yeah.
potentially get, I think is an important piece.
Yeah, so the bullet point 11, the rebate is a reimbursable program. The applicant must pay 100% of project cost up front. The Economic Development Commission, EDC, will rebate up to 100%.
Up to.
There you go, yeah.
We have to make sure the language is good for, because we don't want to get anything approved that puts us on the hook for something we really don't want to be on the hook for.
But is there gonna be scheduled things, like if I'm gonna do this, this is how much you can get, if I'm gonna do this? Because it really, it just,
Yeah, we need to have I think we need to have a breakdown,
yeah.
but I think that could be done at the point of approval.
Okay.
I don't think it not necessarily has to be something that we advertise initially.
Because I think it still shows like that they're thinking they can still get all of it back. You know what I'm saying? The way that I read it anyway.
Well, if we change the wording to up to
Just to up
100%,
to, but, okay,
yeah, that'll really cover that.
okay.
But it's still a little ambiguous as far as to how much am I going to get back and how it's weighed and determined. But I don't think we necessarily need a table right now, 20%, 30%, we don't
Oh,
need
no.
that.
I don't think so
No.
either.
Okay.
Okay, so through 11, then we're going to add up to 100%, and everybody's in agreement on that. We talked about projects starting maybe in the wintertime, and you can't get into to do some of this work on the exterior and all that. So we thought that if it was started within 3 months, and that's still, I think that's reasonable, don't you all? Yep, okay.
Well, you're giving them that buffer of coming back to us and asking for an extension too, so.
Right.
And if it's, whether it's weather-related or just time constraints or whatever.
Yep. Well, and look at contractors today. If you hire a contractor today, you're not gonna get them for 6 months. You know, maybe,
And you miss your window, it
Yeah.
could be 3 more months before you see them again.
right,
That,
right.
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So I think, there we just have to use good judgments on contractors available and approved contractors for the town. I like that,
Yeah.
we've got that in here. It just
Now, does that mean licensed in the town?
They have
licensed?
to be on the town's list, so we have a.
Right. Okay, that's good. Well, that's public information, so.
Yeah, it's on our website.
Yeah. So, number 13 then, if we thought it would be important to have mid-project reviews on whatever work is being done with the town manager and the EDC commission. The building department is so overworked at the moment because of what's coming into the community that we thought that this committee could kind of look at those things along with the town manager, whoever that is appointed, and maybe take some of that burden off of Sergio's department there.
Absolutely.
And what a great hire that is. I got just a personal comment. He's just been really spot on, so the town is lucky to have that man, so.
Yeah, we lucked out.
Yeah. Rebate recipients are required to maintain all approved work for a period of 3 years, outlined in the facade rebate agreement. So we don't want somebody to, like, move out of town and
Spruce it up to sell it?
sell it. So that's
That
kind
seems to
of,
be reasonable.
that's kind of what we have that language in this document here. So if everybody is in agreement with that, we'll just keep that in there, so. And then if we go over $1,000, they must comply with the code here, so. Those 15 bullet points, then, if we do those few tweaks, is everybody comfortable with what we discussed here? So going back to item 4, we're gonna add the signage and the ordinance with that.
Yep.
And then on bullet point 11, we're gonna, a rebate will be up to the 100%. And our first amount that we are gonna shoot for will be the $2,500. And
So, bullet point 12, I know we had touched on that briefly. Just like you mentioned, contractors are just buried, right? The work is being pushed out. are you comfortable with the 3-month extension, or can they apply multiple times for a 3-month extension? They can.
Yeah.
So,
Mike, it's, with how things are going now, I mean, everything is delayed and the idea behind this too is to use somebody local that's in the community, and so everybody's kind of giving back to the community, whether it's a local contractor or a local business owner, and that's the idea behind that, and we just thought that was good language in there, but
yeah,
we can change that if you guys.
No, I agree with that. I was just making sure you were comfortable that was flexible enough. I'm
Think we need
currently involved
longer?
with a building project,
Yeah.
and it's delay city. It's frustrating, and I hate
Yeah.
to put a person who would applied and approved in
Sure.
a position where these delays, which are out of their control. But so that they can have multiple extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's great. That's great.
I think this board is agreeable to that because everybody knows what the climate is and how busy everybody is here, so if you think the language needs to be tweaked a little bit, we can do that. I mean, this is conceptual at this point, so we got, want to read that again and.
Do you think that's clear enough? So projects are eligible for a number for a number 3 months extension by written request? Are you comfortable with that's clear enough for an applicant? That he can do multiple extensions if needed?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to add that though, because then it almost leaves it open to the door
I agree with that.
to, well,
I
we
agree
can
with
just
that.
keep,
You don't want to have it
like
abused,
filing continuances,
right?
You don't want to get it like that.
Yeah, I mean, then where do you turn it off,
Right, you don't
So-
want to have it abused.
I think the fact that it's on the books, that people will know that it's an option based on the current climate, I think
Yeah.
that at least allows them to go, okay, hey, if something does come up that stalls things out, I'm not stuck halfway through.
Right,
I
right,
have options.
yeah.
Sounds good then, that sounds great.
We're good?
Yeah, thank you.
Good, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. The parties can apply and the consideration process, I'm going to go to that part of the document here, to obtain a facade rebate packet from the Town of St. John Manager's Office. Of course, the address is listed there. The packet may also be found on our website. Jason does a great job of getting all that information out to the residents, so thanks you again for all you do, because you're constantly making tweaks to that on a daily basis, so for every department, so we acknowledge that for you. You do a great job there. So they're gonna contact the town manager prior to submitting a facade rebate application to schedule an appointment with the members of the EDC and applicable staff. I think it would be nice if they would come to a meeting. Do you want to add it to, they come to a meeting, or we just do it in his office?
Well, what happens if we have multiple requests and limited funds? So I think at that point, are you going to do, is that going to be something that's privately dealt with, or is it something that, quite frankly, could be publicly dealt with?
Well, perhaps we could privately receive in the bid, not the bids, but the applications. Go through the
them?
applications, and then the ones that get chosen, they could come in and do a pitch
Right.
at a meeting.
Kind of like what we're doing, what we did here with
Right,
Acton.
right,
Sure.
Or maybe you put language like they may be requested to come in here, that maybe they don't have to, because if you have too few, you don't want that being a discouragement as well.
Not hearing you, Mike, your microphone, yeah.
If you have too few, maybe have you put language in there like you may be requested to come before the Economic Development Committee. I've been a recipient of one of these in Griffith, and they did, so I remember thinking it from the receiver point of view, and it was more minor. I think if I was requested to come there at 7 o'clock, and I probably would have thought harder about it. Anyways, so if you have just a few people, and with everybody being busy, they may skip it. although we are doing them the favor, you know, you're
Yeah.
giving them money, so.
Well, I think we need to know why they are looking for the rebate to begin with, because sometimes it is, you know, you take the case of John, it's a family business, there's generational involvement there, and that's kind of something that we're looking at too, as far as, you know, because we talk about them being a part of it for 3 more years, you know, and not just basically cleaning something up to put it for sale. So there is kind of a, you know, of a commitment on their end to be around and be a part of this, so.
So do you think we should change the language a little bit, or do you like it the way it is?
Well, I think at least in the application part of process, we probably should have some wording in there that, you know, a formal request in front of the EDC may be asked of. And I think, like you said, if they're actually interested in the rebate, that they would be happy to.
EDC might require a presentation.
Right.
Sure, right.
How about a formal request of an applicant and a presentation to EDC, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, may not be necessary.
Yeah, that we, you know, we're not locked in it either. If it's
Right.
something that's real simple, you know, maybe it's a, you know, under 1,000 where you don't want to have everybody coming up.
You're putting siding on
Right.
pieces or,
We're gonna fix a window.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. But we'll just add that language to a formal request of the applicant and/or a presentation of EDC, to EDC. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds good.
Mike's gonna let us know when we have a town manager, so that'll be good to hear.
Hopefully soon, hopefully soon.
Yeah, we hear somebody's coming in this week possibly to interview.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, good.
Second interview tomorrow.
Okay, number 3, submitting the completed facade rebate packet and supporting the documents to the town manager for review. Number 4, attend all EDC meetings during the review and consideration process. Well, there we're requesting them to come to a meeting, and do you want them attend? It says attend all EDC meetings, or how about just attend a EDC meeting by request?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or initial EDC meeting.
You want an initial?
Yeah, because I mean, that would cover their presentation. I mean, we have people come in front of the BZA all the time,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Okay. And then, of course, the signed facade rebate agreement must be witnessed through a notary by the applicant, the building property owner, and the EDC. And it's good if there is a tenant, too. So should we add a tenant in there? The owner and the tenant of the business?
I don't think we need the tenant
Huh?
involved.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think we want to involve the
Does
tenant.
it,
Is there benefiting on it anyway?
yeah. Okay. Applicant shall provide a money order or cashier's check to cover all the recording fee for the rebate agreement. Now, what is that amount? Do we know what that would be? Like a recording fee? Or can we include that as part of the reimbursement?
What's an
Because
average
if we end up
permit?
giving them
What's a-
$500 and
not
take
that-
50
What's a
bucks-
building permit here? I mean, for simple upgrades. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think they're that much.
Well, if you're building a house, it is.
Well, but this is just this is an upgrade. It's not, oh yeah, if you're building a house,
Is it
Yes.
35 or 50 bucks? Does anybody
it's
know?
not that much.
Yeah, I mean, is it any different than, I guess it wouldn't be any different than wanting to put a patio in your backyard or something along that line, you know what I mean?
Right.
Shouldn't be a serious amount of money.
The building permit depends upon what type of work is going to be done. electrical permits get a little more costly, especially if it's an electrical upgrade. If you're going from 100 amps to a 200 amp or 400 amp panel, there's a lot of costs involved, a lot
that
of
could be-
inspections,
that could be-
re-inspection fees.
But that's a conceivable thing, because maybe that's what somebody wants to do. Maybe they want to electrify a
Well,
sign
they'll have to
that's
get a
currently.
separate permit anyway.
Right.
So that separate permit covers that. I think to permit, the permit for, are we talking about a permit for the work, the actual work?
Well, it has to be recorded, so, and
We should waive or factor in the recording fee to the reimbursement amount, but as far as any kind of extra permit they may need beyond, us approving the work, the town should still be receiving the funds for that. Unless you want to reimburse part of that too.
well,
Well, you're asking them to pay for the whole project up front to begin with, and then
Yeah.
the rebate program. So, I mean, I think that
Gonna
could be
get
on a
X
case.
amount.
I think that, yeah, that's a case-by-case basis, and if it happens to be able to include all their outlying fees, whether it's permit fees, this, that, and that covers it, and we've approved that amount of money, then so be it. We may say, hey, look, we're not approving the separate.
my gut thought on some of this is that if somebody's doing a project, it's gonna be more than $5,000 or $6,000 on a major improvement, even on sign or facade, so
Yeah, we're only covering part of that to begin
we're
with.
we're gonna give them $2,500
Right.
of a $10,000 project.
Yeah.
That'll be a flat amount.
How they apply it is their
Well,
baby.
I mean, it'll help the underwrite that cost, but, just in beautification of these,
Maybe we should just
for the
request-
41 corridor, I mean, it's gonna make a big difference to people coming through the community.
Should we request the fees be waived then?
I'm,
Can we do that? Are we in a position to do that?
well, we can request it, and it's not necessarily that they'll do that.
sound nice.
Mike's over there shaking his head, going, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm too new on the council
Yeah.
to give you any direction on that.
I mean, I'm
Sounds
really
nice.
just okay with a flat fee, and whatever their project is, if they spend 50,000, they're still only gonna get the $2,500.
Right.
Ultimately, it has to be approved by the EDC, so it's going to be a look at numbers and process, and anyway, so, I mean,
Right.
I think we're kind of, envisioning all these issues that, quite frankly, like you said, if it's a $10,000 job, they're getting their $2,500 and so be it.
Yeah, and we may get a couple projects in, and we decide to give, maybe 1,500 to each person or each applicant. And
Split it up.
We can split whatever amount we have up, and, because this board will decide that, and so I think we leave it at as is then?
I think so.
Okay?
How often are these awarded?
Well, we're gonna try to do it once a year.
Okay, okay.
We're not going to do a monthly thing like where our community gratitude award there, but, again, it's funds. Now, as some of the TIF projects get, money gets recovered from that and they get finished, and there's more money in there, we may be able to get a little bit more money out of this, because I can see it, thinking outside the box. I mean, once 41 gets done and the project on 96 gets done, and maybe something happening with the Kmart, and we do a beautification project on that center of that 41, coming through EDC, and I mean, that's the biggest part of our town that we want to really spruce up, I think. And so we're hoping that a lot more funds are available,
But it's a one-time event to get started.
at this point.
Gotcha.
At this point. And it's totally up to this board. If they, if we get other funds and you say, hey, well, let's do another one, we can advertise it and put it out there, and, 'cause there's always a need.
Yeah.
There's always a need. I would ask too, that if the members are out driving through the community and you spot some things, bring it to the table, and maybe we can kind of identify some of these needs and wants, and start making a list of things that could benefit the town here. I know what St. John Pool did to their building just with paint and sprucing it up and changing that sign around. It really looks terrific. I mean, they really did a nice job on that. And the pizza place right next to him there is looking good. So he's doing some work there. So everybody's trying to, put a little bit in there. And it's by next summer, you're going to see a lot more activity, I'm sure of it. So, okay. So, number 8, then once the project is completed, submit the following rebate and reimbursement documents to EDC or the town manager. Then we're going to need a letter stating that the project is completed. Rebate fund request form comes into us. Of course, we also need the final waiver of liens and all that. Canceled checks for proof. Invoicing showing zero balances with contractors. And then reimbursement documents will be received by the EDC and then will be dispersed as we see that they're able to be dispersed.
Should we change canceled checks to receipts for proof of payment? Because there's,
Yeah, maybe credit cards or.
people use the debit card to pay online. Or
Sure. So,
Receipts as proof of payment. A receipt showing proof of payment.
of payment is proof of receipts showing proof of payment for invoice showing zero balance with contract. Yeah, I think that reads better. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Number 9, of course, the reimbursement documents will be reviewed by this committee and then approved applicant after the rebate documents are approved. So that's kind of the outline of this. We can by our next meeting, I can have this retyped up, and if you guys want to at that time vote on that for conceptual agreement with.
We could probably vote on it tonight if you want to.
If you're okay with it tonight, unless you have to think about it, then,
I got one question.
yes, sir.
In this, I know I wrote this down from 2 months ago, but
Yeah.
it said on here, can't reapply for money for 2 years from the funds that are given.
Right.
It's not in here anywhere. Is that something that you guys canceled last month, or?
No, I don't think we even talked about it.
'Cause I have it from 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It was in the notes that I
It's
took.
before you on the
Right.
committee.
No, but I mean, I don't think we talked about it last month.
No.
Because Joe, you weren't here, and so consequently, it probably wasn't brought to, because it was just, I think it was just, there was only 4 of us here last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we didn't have a quorum, so
Right.
that's why we're just kind of bantering things around a little bit, but.
But I think there should be a limitation to how quickly you could then
I know you put in the 3 years you have to maintain it, but it doesn't necessarily say you can't come back next year and ask for it again. I don't know why 2 years was, maybe that's what we agreed on then, I don't remember, but I have it written down.
It's a great point, Joe. Maybe we should add it in this document, and we can always tweak it later if somebody has an object to it. I know once we get this document approved by this board, and then we'll have the town attorney look at it also with some other documents, but
One other thing I noticed, so we're the St. John Economic Development Committee, and it references commission throughout here. So we probably should fix that, yeah.
yeah, committee. You're right.
That's right.
Some towns call them commissions.
do,
I-
yeah.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Misspoke, maybe.
I'm with you 100%.
Well, to your point, Joe, I even think if we're asking these people to maintain or be a part of this for 3 years after the fact, then I would say, that probably should be the moratorium before you could request even more. I mean, because why would we get involved with, let's say, another opportunity if they haven't even, fulfilled their commitment for the 3 years?
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to make that point
So-
16
Or we
on
can
that?
add it to point
Or
14.
add it
Or
to,
14?
like you're saying, add it where the 3 years is and then, right.
And,
And then, potential reapplying for more funds after that 3-year period.
you want to make it 3 years? Or
Well, it's in there 3 years that they have
Yeah,
to,
that's,
Yeah.
that they have to maintain it. So, I mean, I would say, yeah, would we want to get back involved with someone if we
Before
don't?
they've even
Before they've
maintained-
committed to their initial 3-year.
right.
reapply after 3 years?
If necessary, type thing,
What, yeah,
Apply for additional funding after 3 years.
Right.
that's it.
And the program could change, right?
Absolutely.
So, and I'm sure the attorney will maybe weigh in on this, but, maybe a clause that it's subject to change annually, the program? This is really loud.
Especially as more funds potentially become available.
So you want to make that point 16, this program is subject to change?
Yeah, you can, or in the beginning paragraph or something.
What do you think,
This-
Joe? Or,
Where would we add it, though?
I'd make another
To
bullet
the,
point.
or to the preface of the document, not even in the bullet point, but on the preamble, we would just add this project or this
Program?
program is subject to annual revision.
Well, it kind of says it without saying it in the last couple sentences of the preamble, because, ability of funds, number of requests, yada, yada, yada.
You gotta spell it out, though.
Yeah,
sometimes.
like,
Yes. No, you're right. You're
good to
right.
be super clear about it.
Right.
Did you say subject to
Project is subject to annual revision.
annual? Okay,
Is there a case where it would be, where it would be under more than annual review? Are we gonna limit yourself? What happens in the middle of the year? Do you look at, again, he had some kind of bad thing? Is it better just leave under review?
Well, I think we could nip that by having the review in December or in November, because I don't think we have a quorums. We don't have December meetings.
right.
So just revisit the program annually each November.
Well, I think at this point, we're basically looking at, the way it stands right now, one applicant
Yeah.
per year until more funds become available, or we split up between 2 applicants, a smaller amount.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like we're dealing with 10 applicants that the first 5 will get one special dispensation and then the other 5 are left out in the cold because of
And
the
it
way.
depends on traction too. I mean, if we're lucky enough to get 2 applicants where the work that they want done is, the threshold for each of them is under 5,000, we could perhaps break it, the amount that we're receiving in half, like you had mentioned, and half to one party, half to the other party. Then we get more exposure for the program, not only to any potential applicants in the future, but also to the town, where the town would see the benefit of funding that source a little bit more, so that we can expand on that. It plays off of each other.
Sure.
It's a one hand shakes the other, and both are happy. So the more exposure we have, the more business owners were able to benefit from that exposure, and the more the town's able to benefit from the increased business.
Now, do we have anybody on the board that's still with the chamber?
I'm with it, but I don't
Yeah,
attend
because,
meetings, others.
That could be a project to raise funds for a beautification project that is distributed by EDC. If, I'm just kind of throwing that out there because maybe there's some business owners that would contribute to that. And maybe we could do something a little bit more. And, you know, it's a thought, but then.
We'd have to write that separately,
Yeah,
as a separate funding source, potential
Yeah.
separate funding sources.
yeah. I don't know where the town sits on that. If you would have, get the chamber involved too on something like this. Because they may want to, you know, they're always looking for fundraisers to do some
Right.
things and maybe a source of,
Maybe a match program.
huh?
Maybe a match program.
Match program. So if we can
Yeah.
get this in front of them.
Sure, I think they would consider it.
Well, and we
Funds
can,
allowed.
you know, I don't mind sharing. You know, I mean, if we can get some funds that way too, it would be, what do you think of that, Mike? I mean,
Yeah, I think that if funds allowed, without a doubt, I think that, I can't speak for other councilmen, but I think I would be very interested in that.
so, yeah, we need to get friendly with the chamber here and see if they can
Yeah.
like us
Yeah, if they
better.
can carry the 50% matching and you cut that down and get a greater benefit for our town, you know, and especially in our overlay district, I think I would certainly be interested.
Yeah, our
in what
chamber
others
now
would do.
covers Dyer,
Dyer.
St. John, and
Just Dyer
just
and
Dyer,
St. John.
St. John.
Mhm.
Good idea.
So that's, you know, that could be out of our, you know, I'm just talking out loud, but
Yeah, it's a good idea.
we could run into problems because it's not in the 41 corridor too.
Yeah,
with the
that's
Dyer,
true.
Right?
Well, it's always something to explore.
Yeah,
We can make that a part 2.
There you go.
yeah, all right.
Right.
Well, it's just I don't know why it's got it, but I did. Okay, also in this packet, let's look at the application form. That's pretty self-explanatory. If we need to add some things, we can. You have 2 pages there in front of you that I made. We got facade rebate program applicants. We can make this an EDC commission facade rebate
Committee.
Ooh.
committee.
Oh.
EDC committee. Gee, kick me off of it.
Oh, you're
You could just say EDC.
There you go.
It's covered.
EDC committee facade
Covered.
rebate. Oh. It's amazing I can function at my business, huh? Okay. So we have name, address, property to be improved, name of business, tax, social security numbers, home address. We've got all the pertinent requests there. Project information, business location, age of building, you know, if we're just doing with property owners, do we need leasing in there? If we have a tenant leasing a building, I mean, do we want to know that? It's just, I mean, you would know that by a business permit, you know, probably. I don't know if we have to have that on here,
I don't think we have to have any of the tenant information.
huh?
I think we should probably stay away
So
from
why don't we just line through that, if that's okay with everyone?
Well, is it important to us that it is occupied?
Yes, it is important.
So then you do want that information. Not
Well, we
the,
could just ask if it's occupied.
What do you think?
I mean, let's just take home appliance, for example. They're looking for a tenant.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at the building optically and say, yeah, a little sprucing up there wouldn't be a bad thing, okay?
There is
But-
no tenant.
But there is no tenant, so I mean,
We don't want to hold it against them or make them think that it's possible that it could be held against them.
I mean, part of that whole facade change would be possibly to entice a tenant. Because right now they're looking at a 100-year-old building that is non-desirable. So I think, yeah, you're walking a thin line there because some of this is going to be their attempt to get a tenant.
Yeah, currently occupied, yes or no? I think that
I
would,
think, yeah, that's enough information.
that'd be enough information for us.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that then? So, okay. Of course, then it's just project descriptions and detail, scope of work, and that seems to be, that seems all in line, it's, construction stop date, all that. Mortgage information.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if I'm applying, and let's say my total project cost is 10,000, am I asking for 10,000?
Well, the application is going to state what is available. You can apply for whatever you want, but like the first one, we're only going to give away $2,500.
So it is going to say that on there,
Yes.
that the max award is $2,500?
Yes.
Okay, so someone knows, potentially,
Yeah, oh, I'm applying for 10,000. Oh, I didn't get 10,000. No, that's a bad program. Well, yeah, it's going to state that every year, whatever we have available or what the committee decides on dollar amount that is suitable, we would state the dollar amount
okay,
that's agreeable. Because we may have other projects come along that town council want us to work on. There may be a study that they need some information on to help them out. So how are we running on time? Are we doing okay?
If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna excuse myself. I gotta get back up in an hour, so
Yep.
I'm gonna run home and,
Yep.
hey, nice meeting everybody. Good to
Mike,
see you guys
thanks,
again.
thanks for coming.
problem. My pleasure.
I appreciate it. We'll see you next
Thanks
month.
for
too,
your effort
Chuck.
on all this. This is a good program.
Thank you.
I think as far as voting tonight, I think we should probably table that until we get some of these revisions in print and that we're all comfortable with that wording so that we can
I
make it
agree,
official.
I agree.
All right. We're okay?
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
not-
Yeah.
All right,
we're not talking tons of tweaks here, but there's enough so far that we probably should
yeah.
not vote on something that we have really no official language on paper.
And it's incomplete.
Right.
So, all right. So what I would like to do then is this mortgage information, the current mortgage and on the property, mortgage holder. Kelly, I'm going to refer to you and Robert here. I mean, that's probably important for the banks and the security side of things, right? You're not making changes to a building that maybe a lender wouldn't want, or, I mean, I don't know what,
I don't know how we would benefit from it.
I don't either,
The
but,
bank would benefit from the information, but the bank would have to FOIA request it and have to know about it to FOIA request it to get that beneficial
Yeah.
information.
I don't know if we need to know the amount or the balance or anything like that, but whether or not there's a current mortgage on the building would probably be pertinent
That would
information.
be, but I don't know if the lien holder or if the,
do we need to have a mortgage holder on there?
I don't know if we need to know that.
All right, then we'll line that out if everybody's in agreement.
Fine.
And why do we want to know if there's a mortgage on the property?
Say
In
that
the-
again, Kelly?
Why do we want to know if there's a mortgage on the property?
Well, I guess in the event that we feel maybe that it's in default or, because it hasn't been rented or whatever in a while, that there may be a lien against it so that all this work that somebody is doing is quite frankly, liable or legit, could be facing some sort of litigation over it.
So then that's still an important question in here.
I think
Right.
whether or not you have a mortgage, yes,
Or any other
I don't need to know how
liens.
much you owe or, you know, your
Right.
payments or anything like, that's none of my business. That's asking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But whether or not that, I mean, you might be into a brand new building for 2%, 5% down and have a ton of mortgage that, you know, that's going to scrap you out. And if it doesn't get leased right away, could be a problem. I don't know, you know?
I mean, still, we could leave in date of mortgage, original amount, current
Yeah.
balance. And the question under that's more important, are there any other loans, liens, deed restrictions to the property?
I think that's a more important question than
Right.
the
The
actual.
holder, or the mortgage holder, it's not, I mean,
Right.
it's really meaningless to us.
Okay.
Do you want it left in there, though?
We could leave it in there. Taking it out's not gonna hurt or help either way. It adds no benefit to us, but I mean, like I said, there's no benefit to knowing, but might as well leave it in there if it's already in there.
The whole thing? Or what part?
Well,
I think the first line and the last line are important. I don't think the
Yeah.
date of the mortgage, the original amount, or the current balance is any of
The-
our business.
I think that other question, though, is there any other,
Oh, you want to know if
Liens
there's,
on the
you want to know
property.
if there's another lien on that, or if it's
Yeah.
or if he's got his house up on it and there's another mortgage company involved because his house is his collateral, or whatever the case may be.
all right, now, do we need to provide evidence of loans secured by the building
our current?
or current? You want it?
Yeah.
I think,
want that
I
on
think
there?
that's important.
You want to
right?
make sure he's not back.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so we're gonna leave all that. We'll take data mortgage, original amount, and current balance out.
Okay.
And then we'll leave everything else in. Building information, will project result in a change for use of for the building? Yes or no? That's easy. Use the building after completion or facade project. So the use of that what's happening on we have it listed as a first, second, or third floor if it's a, I think it's nice to know what the use is. I mean, they have to, comply with the town ordinance, but, yeah. Other requirements, property deed, legal descriptions, proof of all property taxes are paid and current. Title commitment showing current ownership. Proof of property liability insurance. A signed mortgage note.
Yeah, we'll know anyway.
Huh?
We'll know everything else anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess here,
Right.
the only,
Need that?
yeah, the only thing.
Yeah.
I'd want a copy of the mortgage. I
Okay.
mean,
The only thing I see with this is, let's just hypothetically say I sign a 5-year lease on the Kmart building.
Yeah.
So I'm committed for 5 years. Now I come to the EDC and say, hey, I'm gonna be invested there, I would like you to help me. And I don't own the building, I'm just the leasee, but I've signed a 5-year lease. So I'm committed for that 5 years. As a leasee with ownership approval, can that person apply
no,
for this loan,
I don't think they'd be able to.
for this rebate?
Not the way we have it written.
That's my question.
Yeah, and that's a
Did you-
problem, isn't it?
Because you have people here that are owners and management companies that are building owners, and then you have people that are leasees in them particular buildings or the building, and it may be to their benefit to have a facade cleanup that an owner would be fine with, okay?
Yeah, I'm not doing nothing with it. It looks fine, and the new tenants is not,
Hey, I've just signed a 5-year lease, I'm here.
We got a corporate store, and here's the colors, and they're not what you have here, but we can
Correct.
change that, yeah.
I mean, I think that there at least has to be a provision in there, and maybe not. I mean, are we gonna be strictly the owners of the building, or because there's a lot of people here that sign,
Well, then.
Long-term leases.
You want to leave lease, if it's leased, lease expires and renewed, maybe we leave that in then.
I see that as good information.
It's a good point, Dave. Okay,
As long as we're not opening ourselves up to any future litigations.
Right.
With that.
okay. So,
Well, you would, all our requirements here that we're asking for would need the owner of the building's approval
Absolutely,
anyway.
yeah.
This is not gonna happen as a leasee coming to us under the radar and saying, hey, I don't care what the guy that owns the building says, I need this done. No, he's gonna have to get that. But I mean, sometimes the owner's not willing to step it up, but the leasee is, you know what I'm saying, as part of their improvements. I mean, you take, for example, J&M Golf, they came in and redid that entire building on the inside for their,
yeah,
but they don't own the building. They're, as far as I know, they're leasing that building. Okay? They're
so
committed
in
to
other
it.
documents or other required documents, may we make that another bullet point there, that with property owner approval?
Yeah, I just,
It's a good point, I
You
mean,
have to have the owner's approval.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, can't,
no, but I mean, this would allow long-term leasing commitment people to,
Provided the owner of the building says, sure.
right, would be able to apply for these funds, where before we have limited it to just the owner of the building, who could be some corporate headquarters 1,000 miles away that could care less what's going on. They just want their monthly money.
yeah.
Right.
but they'll still have to sign off.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, at least the leasee could at least approach us and say, hey, and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe we just look at it and go, hey, well, we hate too many hoops to jump through to make this happen. Because we are looking at, you know, I mean, if you look around nowadays, there's a lot more people that are, as corporations, are investing in real estate as corporations and not as individual people. And they're buying up, hence the reason some of this property has gone stupid crazy. As someone that benefited from the stupid crazy remake of the West Loop area, I can tell you for a fact that when things started rolling, stupid money came out. Okay, to the point where they're not laughing now, but at the time they thought they were trimming a fat cat out there, and they learned the hard way.
Yeah. So do you think we need to make that a bullet point on other required documentation? That the property owners sign off with the leasee?
I would think so,
I mean, is that,
but I think that's just that
I
would
mean,
be,
that's gonna happen anyway,
that's going
right?
to happen anyway. But I think what we're doing here is we're allowing people that are currently leasing the property
So,
that are committed.
so pertinent in guidelines of another town, city, qualifications for grant application, bullet point 2, applicant or co-applicant must be building owner or tenant to qualify upon written consent of building owner.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Get that in there.
yeah.
Because the way it read now, that wasn't a possibility.
Here, I got it.
I got it right here.
All right, and we'll put that in, we're gonna put that in under, other required documentation.
Okay.
Okay, very good. And then we're gonna take, they're gonna certify that all the information is true and represents what, you know, what we're trying to do here. So that language is in the St. John EDC committee. Okay, and so, are we good with this,
Yep.
guys? All right.
Yep.
What I will do is I'll make corrections here on what we've added. And then I'll try to have that printed up either by Jennifer or one of my gals in the office, and I'll try to get it to everybody so they can look at it
Review
through
it.
an email,
Preview it.
and you can
Sounds
preview
good.
it. And then that can be one of the items that we'll vote on, conceptual now,
Right?
because we have to run it, if it's approved by the committee, then we can pass it on to town council. Everybody good with that?
Sounds good.
Good
Okay,
with that?
good. Any reports? Any,
I will ask one question. Why are we in a Chamber of Commerce with Dyer? Does anybody know? Do you know?
They
merged
just
it.
decided to merge a couple of years ago. I think
Okay.
it's been maybe 2 years. I think the Dyer one was small.
Okay.
And I think maybe to some, ideally, it would be a Tri-Town one, but
Well,
just
the only
didn't
reason,
make it
the only
that.
reason I ask is I have family that's involved in Crown Point Chamber of Commerce, and they recently broke away from Maryville because they were tied in with Maryville, and it wasn't that it was not advantageous. It just there's point counterpoint. There's issues and non-issues, and
Sure.
town to town changes, and I think what we're even attempting to do here is a unique opportunity for the town of St. John.
Yeah,
More so than for anybody, and for us to even consider or to go into the chamber and having to ask Dyer for kind of their sign off on something that would have zero plausibility for them is kind of, what's the point?
it's true.
and I don't know if they do things in the Dyer community too, so maybe
Right.
they split funds in some way.
Right.
I'm not sure. I was thinking, there's also a lot of crossover too in the people that attend both chambers, so it's probably another reason they emerged. But yeah, you make a good point. But I don't know what they do and if they contribute to
But
both
I'm not
communities.
I don't mind begging.
No, but I mean,
They got a little money to give us, I mean,
It's a great opportunity.
well, yeah,
I just see in the future, at some point in time, St. John is going to probably have to break out on its own because the potential growth here in
Oh.
this town is fivefold of that. I mean, Dyer's just about landlocked. I mean, so I mean, their growth is going to be more internal than it's going to be external. Where if you look around here, we have, I mean, I think we're going to be shocked to see the 2020 census and what we came to from 2010, and I think by 2025 that number could be even more shocking.
we'll have 25,000 people.
Correct.
I'm just looking forward to the liquor licenses.
Yeah, we need 2. We need 4, 6.
Keep them coming.
And I was also thinking on that same route that we should consider petitioning the council to change ordinances involving town parks and potential licenses, temporary or licenses for events, because that could bring in
Are
people.
you're speaking from BZA or what? Yeah, or,
No, there's town ordinance now for no alcohol in parks.
yeah.
So if we could have that ordinance abridged or modified to include special events approvals, we might benefit from an economic standpoint. And bring more exposure into the town. More exposure is more business traffic. More business traffic is more foot traffic. More foot traffic is, you know,
So that's another meeting.
you're welcome.
But listen, all those ideas I think are just terrific because that spurs good things. So we need to talk about all those things and see what sticks and try to help the community the best we can. But
Well, that's why, I mean, to me, I think we're uniquely tied to the Chamber of Commerce because we need their support and vice versa. They need ours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going to grow exponentially from a commercial standpoint, I mean, we need to be in lockstep
Yeah.
with each other so that we can help each other make it a better community. I mean, if we're fighting or if we're just not on the same page necessarily, it's not a fight, but I mean, it just becomes a lot more work than it needs to be.
Right.
Great.
Because who is our Chamber of Commerce president? Do you know? Do you have any idea? Okay. I couldn't tell you.
I'm not sure. That's terrible, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know right now. All right.
But I
any
think
que-
someone should be from the chamber,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, somebody from the chamber should be represented on this board.
Yeah, we had that at one point. A past member was on this board that was chamber president, so.
Well, just so we have some current information, so we know where their heads are at, because otherwise, it's an email conversation or it's a telephone conversation, it's between one or two people, and then you know how that goes. Pretty soon, he said this or she said that, and you've got all different types of stories here.
We will probably have an opportunity down the road to have a new member, so we'll look into that. So I think it's a valid point though, Dave, it really is. So, any other correspondence from Joe? You got anything else? And Kelly, no?
No.
Building more banks, Kel?
Hopefully, eventually, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
No?
No more banks for us. No, we're not even going back at least till September to the city, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I do have one question. Where's the skate park? Where are they looking to put that?
And that's the gates, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
Off
I,
of
did,
Pine?
I walked in the
Skate?
other day to get sworn in, and I seen the whole artist rendition, and I'm like, man, that's really sharp, but it didn't
Yeah,
say
yeah.
it didn't say where it was going to be.
Right.
So
All right, any other reports that you have for me tonight, or no, we're all good?
Yeah.
All right, so at this point, I'd like to call a motion to adjourn.
Oh, second.
Second.